want to talk about Detroit.
What?
Why?
Where else was I gonna go? Detroit?
I wanted to talk about this thing called the Great Black Swamp, but I didn't really have enough to say about it, so I had to come up with something else.
You mean?
Do you know what the Great Black Swamp is? I'm just going to force this into my thing.
No, I don't know what the Black Swamp
The
is.
Great Black Swamp is like this giant region in northwest Ohio that when the Ice Age ended, like the Lake Erie used to be like way bigger.
Uh-huh.
And when the Ice Age ended, like it left behind this clay.
Like a trail of
Like-
earth.
Yeah, that the water had nowhere to go and it just turned into a gigantic swamp. It was like 120 miles long and 40 miles wide.
Stagnant.
Yeah, and it
And
was
the
just
swamp fox
a
was in there?
massive impediment to like Western expansion, and like armies got stuck in it and shit. It was just a terrible place, and they ended up just burying it. And now, like in the early part of the 20th century, they just got rid of it. So they buried the marshland.
They just put more dirt until it was
Yeah.
just solid.
Yeah, and now like it didn't go anywhere. So like poisonous algae keeps like leaking into the drinking water of Ohio.
To this day?
Yeah, yeah,
That's fucking terrible.
yeah.
That's scary.
But that's not what I wanted to talk about today.
What?
That's a precursor.
Yeah,
Is it a precursor? Or
I
is
want to
that
talk
just
about
the-
Detroit. So Detroit
Where else was I gonna go? Detroit?
was founded by the French.
Is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're back in the Louisiana Territory
Detroit.
days.
Detroit.
Is it part of the
Fort
Louisiana
Detroit,
Purchase?
yeah,
Detroit. Isn't it Detroit?
yeah. Detroit. Actually, no, it's not. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yes, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So the French just lose it to the British during the war of the French and Indian War.
Okay.
And part of the Treaty of Paris, which ended the American Revolution, ceded Fort Detroit to the United States. Now, the British don't evacuate it for a couple of years, but eventually they do, and it's taken over by the U.S. of A. You know, it's a key point in the move in the expansion west, and the immigrants are going there. But it's not super overpopulated by the time of the War of 1812, which is the real story I'm going to talk about right now. So when the War of 1812 broke out, anyone looking at a map can see that Detroit is going to be a frontline city. Like, it's right there on the border with Canada. The British are just over the border in Toronto, Ontario, all that shit. So President Madison gets Brigadier General William Hull. I believe it's William. Let me just double check my notes.
He bang. Oh, baby, when he move.
So Hull.
Oh, Hull. I thought you
Yes.
said hung.
No, not William Hung. He's essentially going to be the guy to invade Canada.
Bang.
You don't know that? You don't know William? Wait, Steve doesn't know
Wait,
William
no,
Hung?
sing it again.
She bangs.
She bang.
Okay, never mind.
He did Ricky Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his thing.
Yeah.
Did he have his own song?
He
He
ended
did.
up recording a bunch of his own songs. Yeah.
But nobody cared.
No, it was
It
never.
was all about She Bangs.
I mean, he made a lot of money. Like, I get tons of ads for William Hung on Cameo.
what?
Like on YouTube, they're like, "Hey, do you want a cameo from William Hung?" I was like, "No, I don't want fucking anything to do with William Hung."
So William Hull is there to invade Canada. So
Okay.
he tries. He has like 3 divisions of like militia, a couple of regular army guys, but it's an undersupplied force. They're not really that great, and they fail. They attack a couple of forts on the Canadian side, and it doesn't go well. So he's forced to fall back to Fort Detroit, and he holds up there to like figure out a new strategy. Now his counterpart is one of the most celebrated soldiers in Canadian history. It's this guy, Isaac Brock.
Isaac Brock.
Isaac Brock. He's a British guy.
Okay.
He's Major General.
Is he born in?
No, he's
Okay.
English, but he's in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm wondering like why. So, this guy is obviously an extremely talented soldier.
Yeah.
I'm wondering why the British would send him to Canada. I guess just to fucking take control of the whole region instead of fighting Napoleon, because that's what they're doing at the same exact time.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I
But-
guess they're like, we don't need as giant a force to just go across. You know,
Right. I don't know.
to deal with Napoleon is way more resources than.
He's in
this.
Canada when the war breaks out.
Okay.
Now, he is in a very strong alliance with Tecumseh. Tecumseh is an Indian warlord who just recently had run an entire Indian uprising against the Americans just a few years prior. They had this whole thing called Prophetstown, where he was trying to create a pan-Indian nation. Like, all of the Indian tribes were going to get together and be a unified country.
He was a
He's
forward thinker.
Cyrus.
What's that?
Forward thinker.
Yes. He
Or
wanted-
Cyrus from the Warriors.
He saw that
Can you dig?
the Americans were just going to swallow up everything, and he tried to be someone
Proactive.
to stop it. He failed. Battle of Tippecanoe.
With Tyler, too?
Yes. And now he's like exiled in the Canadian lands and is trying to work with the British. So he's got his warriors with him too. So these two guys get together and they're like, we got to take Detroit. Now, the Americans, believe it or not, outnumber them by quite a bit.
Uh-huh.
So they got to use what they got. And what they end up doing is this amazing farce. So they capture some American dispatches, and they read what the Americans are saying to each other.
Yeah.
And they find out that the morale is low in Detroit. They don't like this Hull guy, the soldiers.
Okay.
They're terrified of the Indians because they think that they just outnumber them crazily and that they're savages and they're just going to scalp everybody. So they use this to their advantage. They let the Americans find fake letters they write that say, we don't need any more. It's fake letters from Brock to Tecumseh saying, stop sending Indians, we have too many. Which was just
They just do forgeries.
yes.
It's like a mincemeat situation.
Then they go to Detroit. Now, Detroit's on the bank of a river. They're on one side of the river. The city's on the other. City, it's more like 800
Yeah.
people inside a palisade. And they have every soldier they have, which is not too many, light individual fires to make it look like there's just thousands of campfires.
Okay.
You know, and you just picture like, oh my God,
There's a massive
there's a
encampment.
massive force out there. Another thing they do is he dresses up militia in regular British Army uniforms to make it look like it's the best guys and not just militia. You know, it's like the
Okay,
regulars
yeah.
are here. And then finally, he has the Indians and the British soldiers just march in circles to make it look like
It's just
it's just an
always
endless
coming.
sea of people. And the Americans in Detroit are just looking like, holy fuck, we are so dumb.
We're dead. There's like millions of people coming this way.
So Brock finally sends a letter to Hull. And he says, I want you to surrender the fort. And I do not want to be an army of extermination, but I have so many savages here, I can't contain them. They're just going to go buck wild if you fight. So just get out of here now. And Hull, by all reports, just gets filthy drunk and is terrified and surrenders without firing a shot.
Ugh. This is an American disgrace.
This is absolutely an American disgrace. So the British take Detroit. Now, America will eventually get it back, obviously.
Yeah.
But this is a pivotal, like, disaster.
This is a huge fuck up.
The invasion of Canada is fucked,
Yeah.
at least from that direction. They will invade from New York later.
Yeah,
but-
you're gonna have to go through Montreal or
Yeah,
Toronto.
Hull returns to his home back in Massachusetts. Actually, he was born in New Jersey, but he lives in Massachusetts. at
Well,
this
that
time.
looks like Massachusetts claim. I don't want to claim this fuck
Oh no!
up.
Wait, I was looking up stuff about Zebulon Pike. He's from New Jersey. He's a hero. But no, Hull is from Massachusetts.
Okay, good.
He is court-martialed, tried and convicted of cowardice, and sentenced to death.
Yeah.
They commute the sentence of death and just give him a dishonorable discharge. But he lives in disgrace for the rest of his
Yeah,
life.
you have
as
to.
like America's biggest loser, right? Especially early on.
Well, we've done nothing but win.
Exactly. He's the first guy to fuck up this bad. Brock, who undoubtedly would have gone on to be like the Canadian George Washington,
Yeah.
gets himself shot by a sniper at the Battle of Queenstown Ridge,
Okay.
just by the Niagara Falls. when the
If he
Americans
doesn't
invaded.
die, Canada's liberating like 200 years earlier.
What do you mean liberating?
Like away from British rule.
No, they would love British rule. What are you talking about?
Oh, well,
would've
that's
been-
why you said when you said Canadian.
He would have been like the hero of Canada. He still
Okay.
kind of is. They love him. They have statues of him and shit.
Yeah.
But he would have been celebrated as like the.
Okay.
know,
when you
Canadian.
said George Washington,
You have to remember that Canada, especially at this time, is just American loyalists that got exiled.
yeah.
So they love this, you know. But Brock gets killed very early in the war. So, but otherwise, he's like the guy. But yeah, that's the story I was going to tell today.
Speaking of the War of 1812, did I ever tell you that I was obsessed with two things in elementary school as far as history. I was obsessed with the founding fathers and like the American Revolution, which I still am. And then my other obsession was the War of 1812.
Okay.
And
So you knew this story.
I didn't know this story specifically, but because I'm in elementary school and
you
I'm
don't get into the specifics.
yeah. But like I would read some stuff, and one year they used to do the history fair at my elementary school, and fourth grade my project was I recreated Independence Hall and the signing of the Declaration of Independence with popsicle sticks.
Okay.
And like my mother and me, we went and we got photos from books. We photocopied of every founding father, and we cut them
glued
and arranged them by like
cool.
where they sat. And that was my
That's
big
cool.
project. My fifth grade project was I recreated a model of the White House
On fire.
on fire with British soldiers burning it down,
no.
recreating the War of 1812. It was spectacular.
Did you have Dolly Madison saving the portrait?
No, I didn't have that much detail.
You know, all those guys got hit with a hurricane right after that.
Yeah. God was
God punished England
Yeah.
yet again.
They fucked with God's house.